Alrighty, just filling up a bottle of water here. It's not for me, it's most likely for the van, hopefully not for the van at all, but anyway, I've got a number of things coming in, as you've probably seen in a previous video, yeah, so I'm going to replace the reservoir. It's funny sort of a thing. It's only 3 screws and there's 3 pipes. They're all those typical Hyundai fucking spring clamp shit, not the proper hose clamps. Doesn't really matter, or I hope it's not going to really matter. I did notice that one of them been taken off and re-put back on, and I think that was the mechanics trying to stick that epoxy on the bottom. They probably found out the cost of these reservoirs. It's actually like a 2-part, maybe even 3-part injection molded pack of crap, and then you can see where they've stuck the 2 sides together, like they've heated them and then melted the 2 sides together, yeah. I've got a strange feeling the Ford ones are a little bit better quality, but having said that, you know, there's a few little burrs on them that you can trim off and whatnot. It's not too bad for what it is, which is just a fucking plastic bottle, more or less, but a pressurized plastic bottle. So anyway, there might be a bit of wind noise in that, but I'll try and put my finger over the microphone. I'll show you the difference between the old one, and I'll show you the spot they epoxied on the damn thing, and then what the new one looks like. And fucking hell, it's light years difference. There's no doubt in my mind as to why this plastic was fucked, especially if this little thing has come from the same factory, or apparently made from the same grade of plastic. There is a remarkable colour difference, to put it lightly. But yeah, their little epoxy didn't work. It's a common problem I've seen caused by dickheads who don't understand basic plumbing. And the idea is that you have a leak on a pipe, so you patch it from the outside. Well, what happens? The pressure builds up behind the patch and forces its way out. Now, realistically and properly, you should do it from the inside. Good luck trying to get in the patch where this was on the inside. It'd be impossible. So they just done what was most convenient, patched it from the outside, and well, when I went to test drive, it didn't have any water in it because it had dripped out, and they obviously put some coolant in, and the coolant dripped out, and then they realised where the drip was coming from, so they took it out by the looks of, well, the fact that the screws have indeed been touched, and also by the looks of the fact that, well, the little hose spring clamp things weren't put in their original spot. I think they've taken it out, they've slopped a bit of this epoxy on and stuck it back in later, yeah, well, you know, they had to drive a little distance to the place where you get the number plates on and all that, and in due course it would have built up a bit of pressure then, because the thermostat would have opened a few times and pop, you know, it just blew the patch back out. But, you know, it's a dead horse idea anyway. The only time when it will work when you do it from the outside is if you solder copper pipe, or you manage to solder steel pipe from the outside. You might have a chance. Having said that, if it's a corrosion that's causing it, it'll just appear somewhere else, very near to the existing crack before too long, because it's basically rotten from the inside out. If it's an actual pinhole leak or something caused by stress or damage, you may be able to do it, but this isn't copper, so you can't solder it. So anyway, I'll take her out there, and yeah. Okay, well, this is the old one here. She's looking a bit shit on it. That's the top. When you get down lower, it's almost brown. So anyway, there's your patch. that failed. And this one has like it's actually not brass, it's actually passivated steel, zinc, like a very, very thin zinc coating on steel. The same as zinc passivated screws. They also have this strange hole that goes up the middle. And yeah, that's on the new one as well. But the new one doesn't have this, it's just plastic. And this is the strangest bit of all. You got this bloody bit, it's got a key in to a little notch in the mount. And if this doesn't key in right, so she sits, yeah, like that. So if this little one here doesn't key in correctly, this one won't line up. Don't ask me why they've done it. It doesn't make a great deal of sense, but they've done it. So she's a little bit windy still, but I'm inside the engine bay more or less. So that's a new one. What a fucking beauty. New cap and all as well. One's like fucking going brown next to the other one. No fucking wonder it failed. Anyway, your little keying piece is behind that there. Now you might notice a bit of water sort of overflowed. So that little keying piece has got to go into this bracket here that comes out onto this one and holds that one. That bracket is sort of sandwiched in between, well, that bracket is against the firewall, not the firewall, that's me friggin' fender. That's against the engine bay. And it comes in behind this one, and you've got a rubber grommet, and then another thing that's actually a bracket that holds your power steering, and another rubber grommet, and a washer and a screw. So there's your mount that you can see with a little groove in it against the firewall. Rubber grommet. Power steering mount, another rubber grommet, and a little nut. So anyway, she looks a remarkably clean engine bay compared to my other car. At some point I'm going to have to yeah, piss around and have a look at the air cleaner, because I don't know if it's been looked at. Oh, that's right, they've got one right in there. Well, that's not too bad. Yeah. Look at the fucking sensors on this bitch, honestly. Fucking thing's on drugs with the sensors. One there, one there, one there, one there, one there, and one there. This should be all your fucking flow sensor and all that bullshit. That may well be your little vacuum line there for something. I don't know what. That's your throttle cable. That's your brake system. That's your brake reservoir. Now, I must admit, these are the only Hyundais, and the only with the 2.7 V6 that don't have a cap on the top. They just don't have it. Ooh. And that radiator there does not look in terribly good condition at all. That may be a little bit concerning, because that is wet there. About to shit a radiator in this bastard. We'll find out in a minute when we pressurise the motherfucker anyway. Yeah, that's really not good, because that's a lot of white shit there, and that's damp. So if that's damp, fuck me. Oh shit, I might be getting a radiator before I even deal with the fucking transmission. Yeah, this is the thing when you get a car nice and cheap. They only fix up what they absolutely need to on it before they get the roadworthy on it. And there's no roadworthy certificate requirement that actually requires you to have a good radiator, but that's really, from my experience previously, having a bit of dampness here is not at all a good sign. Anyway, I'm going to go get some fuel, It's not too long a distance away, so we shouldn't be too bad, but I do believe it'll open the thermostat. So we'll see how it handles pressure, and it may not fucking handle it at all. I had a power steering pump that was leaking very badly. I replaced the power steering pump. This is on the other wagon, the white wagon, and it actually blew the pressure line for the pressurised power steering fluid. It didn't kaboom, but it was leaking fairly badly from it. And it was that increase in pressure that made it had like crimp seals, sort of like the air conditioning here. I don't know if that's, that might be a one-way thing. Yeah, that's probably a one-way, but you know, like crimp fittings like this. And it basically let go of the crimp fitting. It sort of, just because it's under pressure. And if I'm not incorrect, she might be letting go of that bitch in a minute too. And this is why I'm only bothering putting water in, because I was going to do a coolant flush anyway. But if I'm going to do a frickin' new radiator, well, it might be getting a coolant flush anyway. So anyway, I think this is the line that has, I don't know if that's something to do with your heater or not. That one goes to the back of your engine, and this one comes from your radiator, and that's your little pressurised overflow. We mightn't be firing that well. I don't know. Just that's corrosion and shit, and that's all damp there. We'll see. We'll see how it performs. I might be fucking limping back.